Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Rohit Paradkar and we are back at Bajaj right now to test ride that. That is the new Thruxton 400, the third 400 in the Bajaj Triumph Alliance. So let's take a closer look. Let's get a walk around. Let me tell you what's new compared to the Speed 400. So first things first, there are going to be four colors on offer. You see the white, the red and this yellow, and there's also going to be a black. And we'll give you a separate reel on that on our Instagram. So if you're not following us on Instagram, please do so now. I'm going to give you all the details on those colors in that reel. But for now, I promise to walk around, and here is the motorcycle. So here we have it in the yellow shade. So what you're going to get is that big quarter fairing. That's going to be the talking point, right? Because that is what the Thruxton was sort of known for. The Thruxton came with or without that quarter fairing, but they already have the Speed 400. So they've gone with the quarter fairing for this motorcycle. And I know, let's get that out of the way, this looks more like a Speed Triple RR in terms of its fairing than the more rounded profile of the fairing that we see on the Thruxton. This one, they wanted to go more modern classic, but the modern had more weightage here. They wanted it to look a lot sportier and in tune with the modern times, which is why you see the much sharper cuts on this fairing. And then the tank, it's a 13-liter tank. It's narrower in profile compared to what we've seen on the Speed 400. So you see it from there. It's a much narrower, slimmer tank that they've gone with, and that extends into the fairing right there. And the fairing, to avoid it from looking too empty, they have added these plastic panels in between. So that is the kind of look you get when you are in the riding position for this bike. Now, the Thruxton also had an offset fuel filler cap, which we already saw on the Speed 400 as well. But because this is a much narrower profile for the tank, they had to place it right in the center. But the cap itself is again inspired by the original Thruxton, or the Thruxton 1200 that we were recently more aware of. You don't get twin clocks like a typical Thruxton. You still get a single clock like the Speed 400 with that LCD cluster. Let me boot it up for you. Plenty of telltale lights, including the TC lights, because yes, this gets ride-by-wire and a switchable traction control system. And then you get that display out there to show your gear position, to show the revs, to show the fuel and any other warning messages. And you get the speedometer on the side. And the interesting bit is they have made this motorcycle, or tuned this motorcycle to go all the way to 161 kilometers an hour top speed, because the target was to give it a proper 100 mph or 100 mile an hour top speed from that engine. So the engine is still the Speed 400 TR series engine, but it has been uprated to a 42 PS output now. And it even revs higher. It goes all the way to 10,500 RPM now. So what that gives it is a quicker 0 to 100 time. It's 1 second quicker to the ton compared to the Speed 400. It also gives it that higher top speed that I was talking about, and the higher room for the revs. And to match that, they have also changed or modified the valve springs and the valves themselves to be able to withstand or be more enduring to the higher RPM, even if you're constantly riding at higher RPMs. How it rides, I'm going to tell you in my review, because honestly, I have not ridden the motorcycle yet. This is my first look at the motorcycle as well. And let me know what are your thoughts on the overall design. Now, in terms of the exhaust, what we see are new heat shields. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure if that little crease on the exhaust was there on the Speed 400. So I think that is new as well. Your wheels don't change, the tires don't change. There is the option of the Apollo as well as the MRF tires, depending on when you're buying it. So there'll be these two tire options, but the sizes remain exactly the same. And in terms of the suspension, they have sort of dialed back to the original Speed 400. What do I mean by that? Well, the suspension travel for the front on the current generation Speed 400 is 130 mm, and on the rear is 120 mm. But when the bike was launched, or even the export model of the current generation bike, has a 140 millimeter front travel and a 130 millimeter wheel travel. And those are the numbers that you're going to get even with this. Even the rake angle is slightly sharper. So you will see a 10 millimeter drop on the wheelbase if you compare it to the India spec Speed 400. So those are going to be your changes to the suspension and to the rake angle. And then the big change, of course, is that you get these clip-on handlebars with the bar-mounted mirrors right here. And on the Speed 400, you have the standard straight handlebar. This one is going to be a lot more aggressive in its riding posture because the bars have been pushed down and also pushed forward. So that is what gives it a more aggressive riding stance, right? So that is going to be the other change. And then the seat height remains the same, but the seat is different because we saw the narrowed profile for the tank. The subframe is narrower as well, and that also means that the seat is now narrower. So the seat profile has been changed, but you're still looking at the same 803 millimeter seat height. And at the rear, you get this removable cowl. You'll have to use screws, you'll have to unbolt the screws to be able to remove this. So you'll have to use tools, but it shouldn't be too difficult at all. And then this also has this little plate to tell you when you're moving back, to tell you when you have hit the cowl. And the grab handle is at the back, and because this is a narrow profile, all the grab handle kind of accessories like the luggage mount etc from the Speed 400 is not going to fit that because the mounting points are going to be different. You also get this tiny stubby mud flap at the back. Over that is the tail light integrated right within that subframe, and then you get this additional bracket, and this is where the turn blinkers are going to sit. These are LED turn blinkers, of course. And the broader panel that you see down below, that is the mud flap accessory, which has been installed right now on this particular motorcycle because we are shooting in the rainy season, but that will be an accessory. So the actual bike, you'll only see this and this bracket sit here. But I think they should have integrated the tail light and the turn blinkers as one full unit like the original Thruxton did. Because this is the India spec bike, you also see the sari guard right here. The brakes are going to remain the same. You get sintered pads. These are bi-brake brakes. You get 4-piston caliper up front that you see right there, and the 300 millimeter front disc. So that again gets carried over from the Speed 400. So that's the motorcycle, essentially a modern classic racer in its appearance, higher top speed, more power, quicker acceleration, and that single seat styling when you want it, or a twin seater when you don't want that racy styling. So that essentially sums up all of this. And in terms of the pricing, it's priced at 2.74 lakh ex-showroom India. So that's the pricing right now, which means it sits above the Speed 400 that it is based on. Let me know your thoughts about the motorcycle, and if you have any questions about it, right now would be a good time to drop it in the comments, and I'll try to answer them either in the comment section or in my review on Overdrive. Thank you so much for watching this one. Until the next one, make sure you're subscribed to Overdrive and you ride safe out on the streets because it's madness out there.